Welcome to your Daily 5 for Thursday, September 26th, 2024. Many times you will see that movies that are being released by Vinegar Syndrome will often end up on free streaming services either right around the release or shortly thereafter. So I had seen a title that looked interesting from 1989 that is titled They Call Me Macho Woman. And based on the synopsis and the cover that Vinegar Syndrome had, I thought, oh, this looks interesting. This might be a fun film. They referenced the fact that there's some impressive stunt work, and they basically pointed out that, okay, this is one of these movies that was clearly made for a low budget, and there's some neat stunt work, and otherwise what you're doing is you're looking for kind of the filmmaking mistakes, the boom mics that are visible, the terrible acting, some of the bad editing, that type of thing. And that can be really fun. So I thought, all right, let me look around, and sure enough, the title is available to stream on at least Freevee, which is, I think, Amazon's free service. Is that Freevee or is that... No, I think it's imdb.tv. It's probably there too. But I watched it on Plex TV, which is another ad-supported streaming service, is one of many that exist now. And so I thought, okay, let me watch this. And the movie is about 80 minutes long. And as I was watching it, it became very clear that the biggest problem with this film is that it is not properly balanced in terms of the pacing. And what I mean by that is, out of an 80-minute movie, about 60 minutes is going to be you watching the main actress running around in the woods, being chased by very late 80s looking thugs who are going to capture her. One of the men in the group, and I should not be so limiting. The actual first person who attempts to rape her is the female gang member. Then it's all the other guys. So almost everybody in the gang is going to attempt to rape her. She will escape. Then she will be caught again. There will be another attempted rape. She'll escape. Be caught again. Another attempted rape. Escape. And it will repeat multiple times until you realize that the movie is almost over, at which point she ends up in a tool shed and decides to fight back and starts assembling basically a outfit full of different weapons. And at that point, the movie picks up quite a bit because now you know that some people are going to get wiped out and she's going to use all these things that she's got attached to herself, which include 2 axes, a whip, multiple nails, these boot knives that she improvises, all neat stuff. The problem is, I don't think most people are going to make it through the first 60 minutes to when she puts that outfit together, which I think is a shame, because if the movie was more properly structured, I think it probably would have been a lot of fun. If there had been twice the time of her stalking these individuals through the woods and wiping them out one by one, I think the movie would be a lot better. Instead, you really, and I'm not exaggerating, most of this film is you watching a poor woman running away from people, screaming, at one point she thinks she finds somebody who's going to help her, and that person turns out to be with the gang. Then she finds a second group of men she thinks are going to help her. They intend to gang rape her, except for one who somehow didn't know what they were cruising around for, which seems odd. Every time you think maybe the movie's going to shift one way or another, it inevitably goes back to, nope, she's not going to escape. She's going to get caught by somebody who will try to sexually assault her. Now, I will say there is no actual rape scene that ever happens, fortunately, because that would have just made it even worse. So it never actually happens. She manages to get out of every situation right before it crosses a line. But regardless, I don't know how many people are going to put up with that for 60 minutes. And it really is almost the entire 60 minutes. And that's where a movie like this should be more of a kind of every 20 minutes, there's some kind of action scene. She should have started assembling all this gear, or at least started to fight back a little bit more. Probably at the halfway mark, I would say, especially for an 80-minute movie. I would say at 45 minutes, things should start turning around for your main character. So that is the biggest detriment. Yes, there are wonderful bits of bad filmmaking where you're going to see the boom mics and people who clearly are not very good at acting, and some horrible editing at times, hilariously bad editing. So all that stuff is there. I wouldn't say that it's a bad movie to watch if you're okay watching bad movies, which is a hell of a statement to make. But I think it's not one of those where I would recommend it to people who normally avoid this type of stuff, because they will be bored. That middle just sags once you understand or start to predict that this is what it's going to be for quite a while. And so that is really the greatest problem that They Call Me Macho Woman has, which is a shame, because I think made correctly, put in the right hands, this was a neat idea that could have been a really, really fun movie. But unfortunately in this version, botched in execution. Later.